How's it going, everyone? Sethphir here, and welcome back to another Tower of Fantasy video. This is going to be day 42 in the Ultimate Guide series, and we have a lot of important updates that just happened with the hotfixes for Artificial Island. So let's go ahead and start talking about all of that. So the first thing that you want to know is that inside of the game, if you hit escape and go to the build menu for Artificial Island, in the top right there will be a question mark. You can click that and scroll all the way down to the bottom, and we can see that the enemy respawn timers have been stated correctly now. So the common enemies or the little elite enemies around the map will respawn every 3 days, and the bosses will respawn every 7 days, and the respawn time starts when the enemy is defeated. So this is going to mean that every island is going to have its own personal timer set, which I think is a little weird. I feel like they should just set it on like 3 days periodically for a server time, and maybe 7 days for the boss thing, and call it a day, because having to track your own timer from which you killed something is a little obnoxious. I don't know, what do you guys think? Go ahead and comment down below. How do you think that should be structured? But that does mean that we will be getting some bosses this week, just not quite yet, because Artificial Island came out on the 15th, which I believe was a Wednesday. So if you had cleared your stuff on that day, you're probably looking at the Wednesday the same day. So there's going to be a lot of cool stuff happening on Wednesday. So let's go ahead and get into that. Let's talk about the island materials, because the island materials are going to be very important. We had a lot of strategies going into last week, different strategies based on different players and what you wanted to do. There was the spend to get the weekly cap strategy last week. There's also the hold strategy, where we prepare for upgrading the buildings, and also the monthly items, which are going to be happening soon, because keep in mind we started in the middle of the month, so it's going to be a little bit harder to get those. And you'll also be able to save up for the mount piece, the Crimson Meteor, a lot faster than other players can. So if you're aiming for that mount, if that's your main goal, saving is definitely the way to go, because you're going to need a lot of materials. So with those timers in place, if you had killed everything on the 15th, you should have 2 more elite monster groups spawning this week, and that will be on Wednesday and Saturday. And then you'll also have the bosses spawning on Wednesday, so you can use that to calculate how many materials you're getting. But for me, I have about 4,500 in each category, with a full sweep of the island and accurate timers, right? Like, I was up really early morning as soon as Artificial Island came out on the 15th, and I cleared everything, including the bosses and all the elite routes. So yours is going to be a little bit different depending on your server and depending on when you killed these enemies. Now, the real catch point, the real choke point, is going to be the building materials right here, the quality ones and the composite materials, because as far as I know, these only come from bosses. So you need to kill the bosses in order to get access to these, and they give about 50 each. There's going to be 4 bosses a week, so that's 200 building materials to access and work with. So I think that this week you're probably going to be able to get to station 5 with the command center or the main base, and then you're probably going to get level 4 in all of these other areas. You might be able to push level 6 for the development center, and maybe a little more. I'll update you later on in the week once I see the full value of the boss monsters. Like, it should be spawning on Wednesday, so I'll let you know. So you can kind of hold tight for now. There's no rush. You can't do anything anyways until the boss monsters respawn. But once they do respawn, we'll try to calculate it and see if maybe we can get a level 6 command center somehow, and maybe sacrifice in some of the other resource generation areas, but pump up the other ones. That might be the play we might go for. We'll see how it is for now, so we'll update you further on the strategy for this. But right now, I am set at working towards the Crimson Meteor mount. I am set at maintaining high resources to fuse into late game SSR matrices once we get high enough level. Probably not 7, maybe 9, but I'm just going to keep banking those and waiting on some of these materials. And I am set to make sure that I get my monthly items in the shop before the monthly thing resets and rolls over. So that's going to be some important stuff. And then, you know, from there you can follow your heart's content, whether you want certain things, like maybe you really want this banner or this avatar, you know what I mean? Do you follow whatever it is that you want to get in the game and what seems the most fun for you? So with that being said, I will point out that the SSR and the SR relic boxes are really powerful. Like, very, very, very powerful. So these things are probably the biggest priority in terms of the shop. So if you can aim for these, it's pretty nice. The renovation materials seem to have a bit lackluster materials. Special gift is okay, but you get quite a lot. Same with gold. Can be useful in some situations. Weapon augment box is pretty good, but it just means you gotta wait a little bit longer for the weapon materials. And then these two are rather weak in my opinion. It takes a lot of resources, and like weapon batteries aren't used that much. I haven't seen anybody who ran out of XP leveling up their weapons or anything like that. And then the clusters are nice. They do seem like a lot, but you know, eventually you're gonna get a lot of gear, so it is really you're gonna have 5 stars on pretty much everything, especially when we get into level 60 or 70, sorry, and we have the increased drop rates, and we have Vera, and all the stuff's happening. Like, it's definitely gonna be a lot. So just keep in mind that these SSR relic boxes are going to be the big aim, and the SR relic box, and that will also be stacked against the monthly limits, against upgrading. So you're gonna have to budget accordingly and try to figure that what the best possible outcome is for your personal route. Okay, now with the island stuff out of the way, I did want to say that we have a Twitch stream starting at 5:30 p.m. EST, and we are giving away 10 codes in Tower of Fantasy. They give gold nucleus and SR relic box shard selector choices, so these are going to be very powerful, so make sure you tune into the stream, hop by. We're going to be slaying some world bosses, especially if you're on Solaris. We're going to be getting all those machine parts, all those recipes for the Ida Cafe, and we're going to be doing some fun events as well, so make sure to come hang out. You can watch me PvP, you can watch me Bygone Phantasm, and see all the tips and tricks that I'm doing, so make sure to check that one. Okay, now that we have that out of the way, let's talk about the Battle Pass, because the Battle Pass will be resetting very soon. Right now, I've been holding everything, as we stated in yesterday's video. We are still holding. We do not claim merit points right now. We're waiting for the Battle Pass to roll over, and by the time this video releases, I think that the Battle Pass will be rolling over in a few hours. Right now, it states 5 hours and 50 minutes left, so it won't be too much longer, probably like 4 or 5 hours. So some point today, we will be able to finally start claiming our rewards for merits. I know it's very tempting to hit that button. It's killing me inside. I want to claim all the things. I want to press the button, but I just can't do it. It's eating me alive. So eventually you're going to be able to press this button, and we will be okay on that. So make sure you're holding. This is going to be phase 2 in the Battle Pass, which is going to bring the new mount into the game as well. This little thing that looks like a scooter from Fooly Cooly. I like it for sure, like a little delivery thing. It could definitely be fun. I'm interested to see what kind of cosplay people have going on with this one. But regardless if you like it or not, it's still another mount to funnel dark crystal stuff into, so you can put in the machine parts and get dark crystals in return. So that's always good for everybody, because free-to-play win definitely for sure from that one. Now that we have covered that, let's talk about Join Op. Today is the Golden Day. The Golden Day being the Deep Sea Stronghold, which contains 2 best-in-slot SSR matrices, as well as gloves, which is very powerful, and pants to boot, not bad. So this is definitely going to be one you're going to want to spend some of your vitality on. So good luck today. I hope you guys get some excellent drops. Following that, let's talk about the Frontier Clash. We have another charge attempt generated today, since it is Tuesday, and then that is going to also come with new enemy lineup in the Frontier Clash. I haven't seen it myself yet, but I know some of my friends were talking about it. I think they added Selly as a boss and the Hyena-tron, so that is going to be a little bit different. Some of these bosses are hard. They're killing people with their missiles and all kinds of craziness. So we have a different lineup. I don't know if that's different per region. Go ahead and comment down below. Let me know what region you're in, let me know what your buffs are, and let me know what your boss order is, because that boss order is very important, because the higher the order goes, like whoever's last in the Frontier Clash gets the massive health boost, so you're gonna have to end up fighting them for a long period of time, and they can be very, very deadly. So just keep your eyes open for that. It's very important, and it can be a bit of a struggle. Now that we have covered the Frontier Clash, let's talk about the level cap. The level cap is not increased today, but it will be tomorrow. Tomorrow we will have level 66 on Wednesday. So there's going to be a lot of important stuff. You're going to have the boss respawns, you're going to have level 66. And why is level 66 so important? That's because of raids. Raids are coming up, and they will be very, very strong. the new raid, Phantasmic Zenith, is coming up and will be available. You're going to have to fight Frigg and Valkyrie at the same time, who are going to take increased damage from Volt and Physical. That's their deal, that's their shebang, so you're gonna have to prep accordingly, and you need to kill them within a few seconds or maybe longer, depending on how they change global. Maybe they're a little bit more lenient on us, but you have to kill them within a certain time window or else you lose. So make sure you are doing that and have been prepared. And in order to get you guys prepared, I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the things that I've been looking into with team comps, as well as data for DPS and characters. So for this particular instance, obviously Volt is going to be very strong here, and Physical, so I wanted to talk about that. So right now we have a few team composition options in the game. I know a lot of the high-end players are using Frigg, Tsubasa, and Nemesis together, with Tsubasa as the main DPS with her A5 arrow rain, but that's kind of only if you have an A5 Tsubasa. If you don't have it, it's a little bit weaker, but you can still use that version with Frigg, you know, kind of doing damage as well. It is a decent and solid ice comp, but with the A5 Tsubasa, it really pushes it over the edge. You will do a ton of damage, and I mean a ton of damage. And then after that, we have the classic tried and true Nemesis, Samir or Crow, plus King or Shiro now, because Shiro received quite a few buffs from the start of the game. She is very powerful. I personally use Shiro myself. I think she's a great buffing unit for team play. I think she's a fantastic unit that breaks shields. She has amazing shatter, and she has one of the highest one skill cooldowns in the game. Like, so for just pressing your skill and letting it go, it does a lot of damage. So that's going to be your options. And since the Valkyrie raid and Frigg raid is going to be weak to Physical and weak to Volt, this would probably be your ideal comp right here. So if you could get this, you could exchange Samir for Crow if you're a Crow player. Crow still does really good damage, even without the jetpack trick. Just let you guys know, because I know we have some doom and gloom Crow people that are like, oh no, it's all Ogre because Crow's jetpack is nerfed. Not true. Kawasa still does amazing damage with Crow, and it's better than any of our damages. So Crow's auto attack is fantastic. Try it out. Literally, auto attack is just broken on Crow. So give it a go. But yeah, you will do a lot of damage in there. There's a lot of different play styles, but I think that's probably one of the better DPS setups. And then we're going to talk about healers and tanks. So tanks are actually very powerful right now. If you have one tank in the team, they can sort of hold the aggro and allow everybody to DPS freely without getting hit. So that is a massive damage increase for your team. It may not look like it on paper, the number doesn't look amazing from the tank, but the ability to hold that aggro, if you have a Huma player with the taunt, is unparalleled compared to everything else. Like, trust me, as a whale DPS, I wish that I had a tank taunting with Huma in my raids every single time, because if I do, that means I can hit the back, and that's especially good for Crow players. But you can also just do massive damage without being interrupted by attacks every 2 to 3 seconds, because they're obviously going to go for you, right? And we have a free-to-play tank player in our group that maintains aggro off of our whale players. So taunt does work, the aggro boost does work, it is a thing. In addition to the tank players, you have the healer players, which are really, really strong. We ran a lot with healers on stream and in our parties, and what we concluded was a healer player who has a high level Coco or a high level Zero is just as, if not more effective than having another whale in your party, because of the damage buff that they are giving to the other players in your party. Coco can give up to 35% damage and increase shatter at star 6, and Zero can give 20% increase to damage, which is very, very strong, as well as adding the utility of being able to completely ignore one-shot mechanics with his ultimate. Zero is just an amazing weapon. So tank players, support players, there is hope out there, and we do appreciate you. Please join these raids. It helps so much. That being said, you can't have all tank players and support players, so I would probably say having 1 to 2 supports and 1 tank, maybe 2 down the line, is okay, but I'd really probably just go 1 tank at the moment. Nothing really calls for anything too particular. So that's probably the way to go. So even if you just have one tank, one healer, that can definitely support an entire squad and roster and will be very, very useful for defeating these bosses, because keep in mind that with the level 66 is going to come the increase of that raid difficulty. So it is going to be harder for you to do it. I believe it starts at 42,000, I think, CS. Yeah, 42,000 CS. And this is the first time we see a limitation on the type of damage coming in. So since that damage limiter is there, you can only do Volt and Physical. That means that it might be a little bit harder for people who have not invested in a Volt or physical damage team. So that can be very difficult, right? Especially this last boss, because it's only going to take increased physical damage. So if people don't have Claudia, if they don't have Shiro, it might be a bit of a struggle bus to kill the second boss for sure. Alright, that's going to be it for this one, everyone. Thanks for watching. I appreciate that. Make sure to tune into the Twitch stream for the giveaway for 10 codes tonight at 5:30 p.m. EST, and we will see you there. Make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell if you found any of this information important or helpful and you wish to support the channel. We also have a join button to become a member. You'll get a cool icon next to your name, as well as some special perks on the channel, so make sure to check that one out. Thanks for your time once again, and we will see you in the next video.